Do you want to learn how to wow visitors on your website with an image slider? In this video, we're going to learn how to create an image slider using Layerslider WP, which a lot of people still don't understand because it comes with WordPress themes that are just hard to figure out. We're going to learn how to get that slider plugin onto your site on its own so you can install Layerslider into Elementor or other popular page builders like Gutenberg or just onto any WordPress site. We've used Layerslider since about 2014 when we made an e-commerce website for YouTube, and we've helped so many people journey along with Layerslider. And I'm so excited about how Layerslider 7 has turned out because honestly, 3 and 4 had some bugs. Layerslider 7 does not have those bugs. Instead, we're able to create text and different fonts and a ton of different button styles that actually fly in as we'd imagine them. The slides transition pretty smoothly, although my browser is a little slow now because there's so much going on. And of course, we're going to learn how to create all the transition effects that you never thought you might be able to do, like flying puppies and flying humans and different sorts of transitions on the background. So if that sounds like the kind of tutorial you're looking for today, then hope you'll follow along with this video. And at the end, we are going to go ahead and stop before we get to this guy right here. He's a little more complicated with the flying hammock and the laptop, so that'll be an additional Layerslider tutorial, but you'll get close enough to create that guy where you could, and then follow the links in the description below for that actual tutorial. With that said, let's go ahead and install Layerslider onto your WordPress website or blog. So there are going to be two ways you could get Layerslider onto your WordPress site. The first one is to download this Element Pro Pack thing from Envato, aka Code Canyon. This one looks kind of cool at first, and then you actually have to buy Layerslider separate to insert it into their dashboard thing here. So even Greg can make mistakes on which plugin to buy. I'm glad I did though, because now you know that the cheapest way to get Layerslider is directly from Layerslider.com, from the original creators. So we're definitely going to get Layerslider from the company Layerslider themselves. And to get to this page, if you want to save a little time, I don't know if it's going to save you a ton of time, but you can just type in gregnarayan.com/Layerslider and hit enter, and then it'll take you right to this website here, and I'll have it redirect right to the Get It Now page. So we're all set to go with the most updated version of Layerslider, and that'll also give me a little affiliate commission from Layerslider at no cost to you, so hopefully that'll make up to the money I wasted on this Element Pro Pack. Alright, so let's get it. We're going to get the personal for just one website and 1 year, and I'm sure it's going to be really useful because I've used it before on other sites. So actually, all the premium add-ons and templates come from Creatura, and yeah, just so you know that, but it is Layerslider 7, and it's the OG Layerslider. So let's buy now. You might want the 3 websites. If that's your case, you could also up it to 5 or 10. Maybe you have some clients who are going to pay you to make them, and that money is not a big deal, but for us, the cost is a big deal, and we want it to be as cheap as possible. So let's buy now. And we have Layerslider for WordPress personal use. Perfect. No extensions, just secure checkout. And I'm just going to pop in our info just like we would for any other payment on Apple, Uber, Amazon, Netflix, anywhere like that. Credit card option, and I'll just black this out so can't go on a shopping spree on Dear Blogger's credit card. And continue, and we should be taken to our download screen. Beautiful. So we have our download button, but before you click that, just copy the license key so that you'll get all the updates and your plugin will actually work with WordPress and they'll know you're legit. Copy that and download now. Beautiful. All right, we'll get the Layerslider WP zip. Great to see that again. It's been a little while. Just make sure to save that. And now we'll just come to WordPress and head to plugins in your plugin dashboard, and I'm gonna go ahead and swiftly deactivate Element Pack Pro and try to get a refund there, because who wants to pay for a Pro Pack and pay for the slider? That's ridiculous. Now we're gonna go to the Add New and upload, the old-fashioned way of uploading a plugin. Choose File. There's our zip file we want. Make sure it's the .zip file, and open it or double-click it. Same thing, and install it. Okay, good. Now we're ready to activate and get that Layerslider into our website. All right, welcome to Layerslider. So it's going to want us to start creating right now. Nice different languages there. So let's get started. All right, first off, we're gonna see if we can get our activation key in here. So let's register our license down below. We're just gonna paste in what we copied before and update the license. All right, premium activated. So if you need support, you can ask me in the comments. I'll try to get back the same day. Otherwise, there's the Open Help Center. I'm sure they're really useful for longer conversations, stuff like that. Okay, let's start creating. Let's go ahead and create your first project. And if you want, you can browse templates. Let's try that. All right, so we have some holiday themes here for your next holiday idea. Candies, pretty cool. Fairy, I like that one. Black Friday. All right, 50% off, sales, a lot of Christmas. I'm not sure why it's Christmas. It's March right now. Actually, April, I think. Yep, it is April. So instead of the templates, let's go ahead and make our own. I'm gonna go back to dashboard and we'll start from scratch. And we're gonna get started. All right, now let's go to the add new project to start from scratch. And we'll call our slider something simple like Home Hero Slider and create blank project. All right, welcome to Layerslider 7, 3-minute brief tour. Okay, we can start the tour. Start, so project settings are up top. And then slides list. It's where you're gonna have all your slides you manage, and then the current slide on the upper right. All right, and then you have save and publish buttons on the lower right, different from Elementor. Customize editor layout up there, and workspace settings in the lower left. More handy tools, which I'm sure we'll forget, and exit to WordPress dashboard is up top. Okay, so this looks crazy at first, but don't be intimidated. Layerslider hasn't been the best for years and years because it's confusing to use. It's been the best because it's easy to use, just takes a little bit of time getting used to, and then your knowledge will build on itself. So let's jump right in and build that knowledge. We're gonna click add layer first, but don't worry, it's not like a Photoshop layer. These are gonna be layers that make sense. And we're gonna go with, of course, image. And then on top of the image, we'll add a text layer, button, shape, so on and so forth. You don't need to add all of them though. So image is good, and upload files. And I have a couple images that are gonna be good. So this one is mountains, but because we want more mountains and more nature, I headed back over to Pixabay that you now know about and did a search for Banff. And sometimes you just gotta know what to search for. And now we have like all the beauty in the world. All right, free download. And let's get one more. Boy, they are so beautiful. Just this wintry cabin. And I hope those were the ones you wanted, and sorry if they were not your favorites. Call that one the cabin. Okay, cool. So let's see how to use our images. Back in Layerslider, we'll just double click to set the image. Make sure it's a double click and upload and select. And we're gonna get all of our Banff images. I think I forgot to make one of them the biggest one, so we can see what the difference between the 1920 and the 5,000 pixels images is here. Probably just a little bit of time uploading. All right, we're gonna dismiss these errors because it looks like WordPress got the job done regardless on one of our images, and we can grab the other ones later. So let's look at first how to use our Banff docs image. We're gonna insert it, and that's beautiful. So now we're just gonna drag it to fit the window. You want your content to fit inside this inner grid for the slider. Anything outside that is just not gonna be showing up on the page. Okay, now we're gonna add another layer, and how about some text? So the text layer will pop in the upper left and hug the upper left corner. You just need to drag it towards the middle. We can have this say something like that fits our website. So how about start your project with us, or start your journey, or something like that. And if you double click it, it will open an image. So that's gonna be a double click on the background image, and we don't wanna do that. I'm just gonna try to highlight the text and change that. There we go, now we're highlighted by double clicking the text, and I'm gonna do start your journey with us. And yeah, cool, we don't need an exclamation mark. That says it right there. And now on the lower right, you can change things like the way the text is displayed. So Style will bring up the fonts. We have lots of font families. We can hit plus, and there's the common fonts, and you can also browse Google Fonts, so that's pretty cool. Not sure where that will take us though. Whoa, that's a lot of fonts. So if you want to get these, they actually do work too. I just chose dongle. And then, yeah, the options will quickly expand into the infinite numbers of options. But for us, let's just make our text something bigger, like a 48. And we're going to give it a color of just white. So white will be the F's, 6 F's. All right, that's looking better. Now let's move the text a little bit so it's right on the horizon like that. It's pretty cool, and you can just drag it to make it bigger too. We don't always need to go with the font size. Okay, once that's sitting right on the lake, that's good enough for me. I'm gonna go and add another layer, and for this layer I want to add something from our iPhone or our Android. I just have an iPhone 13 now, and what I'm gonna do is actually open that alongside this screen here, because I found some images of ourselves, like myself and Dear Traveler. We work at this agency, and the puppies also have a job, so they get the role of like relax masters or distraction masters, and they're gonna go on our layer slider. So here we are opening up our cool little phone here. I'm gonna record the screen. Okay, and here we have a puppy photo. And what you can do when we have this nice portrait here, or any photo on the new iPhone, is we click on the subjects and hold, and it will just keep them selected, as we can see by the cool little outline that's sort of circling them. And now we can just share just the puppies. So it's really neat. We can share just them to an email, and we're gonna see what we sent. Puppies and people, and we're just gonna download. So that is so cute. Okay, awesome. Now back in Layerslider, our element, or our layer rather, will be an image, and upload, select, and it might have just finished uploading our other band images. We shall see. Yeah, I got one more of them in, and these are gonna be like a lot smaller, but still pretty big. And then if you wanted to break up the two puppies, you could. And if you want any of these images, just ask. I'll just send you a link to them. So got that covered. And I'm just gonna go with the puppies first and insert. And there they are. So they're way too big. Let's drag in the corner and size them down. And that'd be funny if it was just like, start your journey with us, and then just like two huge puppies in the mountains. Oops. Ta-da, slider's done. Just kidding. So what we're gonna do is, I was getting some ridiculous projects together here, and we're just gonna move the puppies so there you go, right on the dock. That looks a little more real. They're just waiting for a swim. They're waiting for you to come out with your computer and start building that darn digital agency website already. All right, so it's pretty cool. And the last thing we might need is just a button. We don't want to overdo it, so just a button. Oh, not a shape, a button. And there's a lot of button styles to choose from, so I like this one because it kind of looks like a leaf, and it should fit our colors here too. So we're just going to bring this one over somewhere like logical. Really, a lot of places will work for your button, and if it goes off the screen, just click back on the layer and make sure you get the button highlighted. Am I highlighted? Yep, I am highlighted. Let's just go with, I don't know, what's like one word that would be good? Begin here. How about that? It's 2 words, but whatever. Okay, so begin here will be good, I think. I'm gonna put that like right after start your journey with us, or maybe right below. Okay, went away again. Oops, make sure to just click back on. So obviously clicking around is a little bit of a nuisance here, and it shouldn't be, and it really won't be once you get the hang of it, like I said. So just keep in mind, like, the layers want to all show up at once, but if you're on just one of them, then it'll just show you the background, like the biggest layer at the bottom. And of course these layers are on top, so they will show. Just, don't click the bottom one, I guess. So start your journey with us, begin here looks great. we just want a little link. So I'm going to double click the button, and down in the lower right we can see there's a link. Actually, it's in the upper right, and we're going to set the link to our home page. We can just right click, copy the link we made on our header button, and perfect. All right, and open on the same page. All right, you could also choose a poster page or have it be dynamic, and we're going to save it. Crazy, we did it. Okay, now we just need some animations for our slider. So let's have our text, start your journey here, transition, and this one is going to fly in. So it's going to have an opening transition, and if you move it, nope, I'm going to Command Z to move it back. I was hoping the opening transition would be something preset. And we're going to get those presets when we open that drop-down menu, and then you can just do something like sliding in from the right. All right, so that'll do it for now, although you can do an entirely different transformation if you know how to mess with the X and Y axis like a pro. So let's do our button now. Oops, we clicked on the lower layer, don't want to do that. Click on our button, and okay, transition and presets. How about sliding in and growing from the bottom? That's pretty cool. And then we can do our puppers here. Transition. I mean, that might be ridiculous. We don't want this to be like too much of a hassle for people's viewing abilities. Falling in like it's like a Super Mario like bad guy. I was just hoping for like maybe a opacity effect, but the presets don't want to give us that yet, so we can do like falling in and bouncing. Cool. Okay, in the interest of time, we'll save and let's see how to put the slider onto our homepage. I'm so excited. So we are going to go and publish, and then there's an embed code. Beautiful. We'll just copy that. Otherwise, you could remember the open bracket Layerslider ID equals quotation mark 1, close quotation mark, then closing bracket. And there's also more embed options. You can click that, and there's like a widget. So we have the shortcode, but there's a widget, and there's page builder. So yeah, even if there's no Layerslider specific options, shortcodes and widgets are good. But popular plugins like Visual Composer or Elementor have dedicated options to embed products. Let's go ahead and see what we have. Okay, so back on our home page, edit with Elementor. All right. Now that we have Layerslider installed in our backend, will it be an element 2? Let's search, and it is, and that is so awesome. I can't even tell you how happy we should be, because using the shortcodes is great, but sometimes you have to play around too much with the display size, and Layerslider in itself is just going to be good to go, hopefully out of the box. So let's see. Let's plus, and then let's drag in Layerslider, and we can choose our home hero slider, and there it is. All right, cool. So I guess there are some settings we have to do with our Layerslider. We're gonna have to go to the settings and content width full width, columns gap no gap, and that's looking better. All right, height, how about fit to screen, and overflow is good, and we can stretch it if it's not going all the way across, but it looks like it is. And now let's update, and let's see how it works with our header, given I don't believe we have a transparent header. So let's go out and view page. And we do have a transparent header, so that's pretty cool. And it fits our entire screen. But does it animate? It does not animate yet. Let's go to Layerslider and figure out why our transitionings are not working. But it looks to me like our opening transition's not even working, because the check mark won't really stay where the transition is set, and it just goes away once we hit save and publish. So the puppies and the text and the button are really just moving based on the transformation. So I'm gonna have to ask the developers on Twitter what's the deal with the transition presets, and I'll jump right back here. Alright guys, so here I am on Creatura's Twitter homepage, and I'm betting they will tell me to post a support article, but maybe Twitter will work and it's faster and more fun. So let's just write it in. Hey, we are building a tutorial on, and then I'll just take that little note and put that in a support ticket after we tweet it. Help, and then let's go to open support ticket and submit a ticket. And we're on Layerslider for WordPress, license queue. That's a lot of work. All right, good thing we still have that open. I'm gonna put in our note there first and our key so they know we're legit, and then our name and email. And I don't mind if you guys see my email. Okay, transitions won't stay active. Okay, the screenshot's attached, and we're gonna submit the ticket. And we'll have to wait and see what they say. All right, so we're gonna make sure to save and publish, and now we're gonna get another slide in here. So whereas before we were working with our one set of layers on this slide, now we need another set of layers on a new slide. So let's go to slide. And that's not it. That'll just tell you settings for this one slide. All right, like scheduling, timing, and transition. There's layers. And we want to go to slide list and click the add new tab. And here we are. So we can put the background in like we did before. Add a layer, image. And let's go with our wintry cabin or our rocky creek. Probably the wintry cabin makes a little more sense. And insert. And you'll realize that if your image is huge and outside of the frame, you can just drag the image so you get its little corners. And then we're going to make sure the image is smaller because we don't want to just see the snow in the forest. Drag it in so more of it will fit in our frame. Alright, and your image probably doesn't have the exact width and height of the frame, but that's okay because it's bigger. And it works. Alright, now let's add one more layer. Oh. Did you get bored?
What? Oh, you're like going to the next
image.
queue?
Yeah, this little partner in crime.
Oh, did you get bored?
And we're going to add the couple because I was going to show you this part. Wait for it. Don't look. Don't look. Don't look. It's like the reaction of a fellow blogger. Girlfriend of the bloggers. And so this could be you and your business partners, or maybe your whole team posing for their photo, and you can make it cute and have them interact with the image. But in our case, it's just Dear Blogger and Dear Traveler.
Look at us. It's so cute.
Yeah, we got our winter
Like
coat
we were
on.
there. Looks like we're in Canada.
Cool European hat. Can you tell we wear ice skates?
I know. That looks like the. We probably shouldn't try to ice skate across that lake.
Right. Like,
In for
oh
a
man.
shocking surprise.
Okay, so let's get a little more of that bank in the image. So we have a little more to stand on. And cool. So yeah, this could be your whole crew at the company picnic, the big celebration up north where you guys all gave speeches and gave awards. And you know, any sort of firm that's a digital agency has a big team, sort of like, just like Zero Gravity, you know, they have a big team working together, interacting, and there's probably a group photo, and your group photo will just be a little more entertaining if it's like a moving part and then some cuteness behind people, and then you can put props that fly into like someone sitting down, or you can easily Photoshop someone into the photo using Layerslider because you can add as many layers as you want. Okay, beautiful. So some text for this slide, easy enough. We can go back to add layer and we'll go with the text. And of course the text is gonna come together in a lot more cool ways once the transition stuff is figured out. But for now we can just get our text layer centered, and if you want to fully center it, there should be some bars. Like right there, you'll see the crosshairs, and dead center would be the middle of both bars. Then we can go to the style, and we can get ourselves that font family from before. So we're going to plus, and then there's dongle using a project. But if you want another Google font, we can always Grab another one, such as Climate Crisis or Minerve. It's kind of cool, I like that. Not very like, you know, website-y, but more like kind of a writing, like you're writing a journal. Double click to highlight it and write, how about read our story. Okay, if you remove the wrong layer, just hit Command Z and get things back where you want them. Okay, with that bigger text, we'll center it again, and it'll kind of clip in like a magnet. I can feel that on my mouse. When we do that, okay, we're gonna get that text colored here, text color. And if we want to go with the eyedropper, can we do that? Maybe not so much, but it looks like we can make the opacity change. So whether the text is full of its color or lighter in the color department, opacity will do that for you. All right, and I think just something like with a little bit of pop, not too much. A warm color would be great here. Maybe like a kind of a greenish blue. Okay, we can pull that up a little bit so it's just horizontally centered. Let's see what word wrap does. So not much, unless it's a big block of text that might affect it. And then you have font weight. There's also text shadow to get it to pop out a little bit. So you just got to give that one a color and then decide how much the blur is. So that could be really helpful. Pretty cool. And the direction you see will move closer or farther from the text. Somewhere in the middle is usually good for that. But definitely a good tool to make things stand out a little bit. And with less blur, it'll just be kind of like a 3D sort of the Simpsons style text. More 3D, you'll just get that full blur from the background. That's pretty cool. I like the cartoony Simpsons style. And we're good with our text now, although there's a lot more we could do. Once we become more and more intermediate and expert with Layerslider WP, we can get into all those effects and advanced settings. Let's get ourselves a button. So we can see along with button, there's video, audio, shape, icon, object, SVG, HTML, dynamic layer, and import layer. Pretty cool. So we'll try those two once we become a little more intermediate. Definitely gonna do icon, at least in this video though. Let's do the button, and we'll choose our button. Maybe we're leaning towards this blue button there. All right, pull it down, but then it's gonna clash if it's the wrong type of blue. So let's remove layer, add layer again, button. And why don't we try this hot pink button. We'll bring it down and full center that button. We can also change the HTML element nature of it. Maybe you have styles on a div or a P. And it looks like our text is pretty much centered to begin with. Okay, and we'll link this one to the about page. That's easy. Right click about, copy link address, and there it is. Link, easy peasy. What if we use dynamic URL? Oh, that's interesting. It can open on any page, parent frame, okay. X that out. Okay, let's save our work, and then let's try out that icon thing. So you don't have to publish it every time, because saving it will get the job done in terms of not losing your work. Let's go to add layer and then try our icon. We can see all the icons to choose from. So if you're doing e-commerce, this could be good for a shopping cart or maybe some shorts or a t-shirt. But you know, something like a book opening could be a cool way of beginning our story. So there's our book, and I guess that could go in the button. Is there an option for the button icon? Yes, there is. So the icon library is actually really extensive. There's Font Awesome 4 and 5 and 6. And those are installable. You just have to click and it will download them for you. So get overwhelmed and get those icons on your pages because you have a lot of them now. Okay, so for our story, I'm just going to show something of growth because we always like to grow our digital agency traffic and our business. So we're going to go with that one for the icon. You can see it's really small, it's in there, and that needs to be brought up because it's only 0.2 M's. So begin, and it'll be like a little graph, like a little map that someone can go up on. Remove the layer on that one, and yeah, now you know how to put in an icon. Make our button a little bigger. And cool, other icons that could work would be like a door or a picture frame or just like a family or something like a house. So beginning, but I think that's pretty cool. It's like you're gonna start a journey. And we'll save it and we will publish it. And we still have Layerslider 1 on our homepage, so you don't need to do anything with the shortcode when you publish and update your sliders. Let's go ahead and bring in one more slide, and that will be from our slides list again. Add new, not import. We don't have any slides to import, but as you make more and more slides for one website, maybe you create another digital agency website for a client, then you can just import your slides right over and save the time and the work. So we'll add a layer, image. And how about this rocky image or even a beach? I don't know which one you want to do. This is kind of the Banff theme, so is this, but a beach is pretty good too. So if we did do one of these, like coves or the beach, I don't know, this one just grips me a lot more because it's a path, well-traveled path. And this is going to be particularly good for your skills on your website. And if you create a digital marketing agency website or any kind of website for a client where they have some sort of like one-liners, like we guide you down the right path, or, you know, a proven path to success. Maybe they're like an accountant or a financier and they like those kind of metaphors. The images will really add to your arsenal of stuff to communicate those messages with some text. And especially the older generation of clients will just absolutely love you for knowing how to make these sliders. And it doesn't need to be a marketing agency website. It could be any type of website. Believe me, I have made more than I can remember. Okay, so here's our path. And we're going to say something just like we mentioned. Let's add layer and do some text. And we'll just say, life's a beach, but we'd rather, and you'll notice if you try to get your cursor after a letter, sometimes it can be a little tough. So I'm gonna need to highlight the words and just type it out again. But we'd rather walk it with you. Or how about alongside you? So you might notice it's tough to get an enter in there and make a space for your text. Let's go back to content, and if you hit the enter in this editing window, it will respond to you. Okay, perfect. We can see our text still isn't centered, but if we write in some code there, it will center it. So this editing window is actually a fully functional HTML window like you'd find in a blog post editor. And that can be really cool if you know a few little commands. Or if you need to copy paste a little chunk of some code someone wrote from a different site into your layer slider. Okay, once again, we are going to change the font and the font color. Head to style. Fonts are so fun. So we're not just going to settle for Arial. We've used Dongle and Minerve, so why don't we go for a third one? We've used Poppins before. How about Browse Google? And just because we can, grab ourselves something that's like a story. So how about Chantel? Or, you know, Rubik Puddles is cool, but hard to read. Okay, that looks perfect. Now for the text color, we're gonna go with something kind of sandy. So it's gonna be hard to use an eyedropper if you wanna get the exact color of the sand. I'd recommend giving a PicMonkey a shot here. So you could hit Command-Shift-3 and screenshot whatever image you're working on. Then head to PicMonkey's homepage, click Edit New Image, and we'll be in the Computer Grab section and grab the screenshot we just took. Now just go ahead and get the text from PicMonkey onto your page. I just use text. You don't have to add the text though, but that'll just bring up the add text option. And then when we choose to color the text, we'll be like right here. So text color, and then we have the eyedropper. I'm not sure why PicMonkey comes with it, but Layerslider doesn't, but I might have just missed it. If you find that eyedropper, definitely let us know in the comments. Now I can click the sand to get the color, and it's right here. Pretty much, we'll see if that's a good color of the sand. Go back to Layerslider and paste that in this hex. Don't need 2 hash browns though. And yeah, it's a nice sandy, could you call it an orange? Yeah, sandy orange. We'll put that right on the horizon again because that's our thing. And we'll center it horizontally. And we are in business. Super cool. Just absolutely marvelous. I mean, that is just striking. People are going to remember your images and your text and your messages now that you know these skills. Okay, lastly, we got to go down and change the text effects. We're going to give it some shadow. Okay, black, and then just a small amount of blur. That'd be like a storm. A little could do the job. I don't know. It's up to you. I mean, you don't need much. And then lastly, we're going to get one more button. And hopefully there's a button that fits our beach image. So button. For this one, we're just going to want like a plain button. But how about the green that we used before? So don't always need to use a new button. That down here in the middle. Could be like in the sand or hiding, but probably should have people see your button. And we're going to do another one that goes to our services. Okay, so button, link, drop in the services, and we're good. And then for the text, it can just say our services. Beautiful, and save. Okay, to navigate back to a slide you were working on, we can always go to the slides list and just click on slide 1, which is no preview, but that's okay. It'll take us here. And of course you can name them, like this one can be mountains, slide 2 could be cabin, and slide 3 could be beach. So you remember if you have like way more slides. Let's go back to number 1, and I'm also going to do that trick where we pull in the background so the resolution's a little better. And then we can see more of the mountains too. And you can see the text even knows like where the bottom of the image is. That's really cool when you get that magnetic feel with it. And button centered. Beautiful. Somehow our slider got on like rapid setting. And maybe the transition properties here are making our slide get out of the screen too soon. So let's change that transition property for each slide. Go to slides list number 2, cabin. Transitions, get rid of that 100. And then number 3, the beach. We don't want it at that 100 either. And then save it and publish. And it looks like we want opening transition and ending transition checked, but in the duration, we need to increase that. And we'll find duration and transition properties. Duration for each slide, let's make it 4,000 and try that. And I know it's a little confusing navigating these terms and these little drop downs like transition presets, transformation. What is transformation? Transition properties, but we'll get through it because it's starting to make sense. So now slides list, we'll go to cabin, and fortunately the duration is still up. Let's make that 4,000 also. Slides list, beach, duration 4,000. That way Layerslider knows that the transition is going to take 4 seconds, which is 4,000 milliseconds to start changing. Okay, now when we check it out, is it any different? Okay, and now that we've done that for the ending transition, how about we change the opening transition? We can give that also a duration of 4,000. And set that for each slide. So opening transition down to duration 4,000 and first slide 4,000. All right, and we might have actually slowed down the slider. Not by a lot, but by a quick 4 seconds. Phew, at least it works. And the coolest thing is our transitions actually appear. Like they actually take effect because there's more time for them to work. Okay, love it. Great job, guys. Now that we know how to delay our transitions and make the slides stay on the screen for a reasonable amount of time, why don't we make it 5,000? I think that's a number we've used in the past for the 5-second rule there. And then we can also change all of the transitions here of the text, the button, and different items. And when we save it, I'm hoping that because we changed the duration of the whole slide, all the different animations and transitions will have time to work. First slide, and I hope you're just working on your slider alongside with me as we figure all this stuff out, because it's a journey, but I do apologize. It takes up a bit of your time, it goes a little slow. So if you're working too, then it's like we're just in a little working studio together at a coffee shop. And you can always ask me live questions in the comments. I'm here to respond. No question is too silly or too anything. Really, every question's good. So I think the duration is the problem there on our poor little puppies. So every different layer has opening transitions, like the puppies have opening transitions and closing transitions, and of course the background has an opening transition. So just got to be aware of that, and yeah, that's gonna help things move into the screen at a predictable pace, but it could also, throw things off if we're not on top of them. And in reality, as you create your digital agency website in WordPress, you're probably going to play around with the slides and get them good enough and then publish it and be like, hey, client, we made this. It might not be exactly perfect because there's so many settings that can drive you crazy. Some of the opening transitions just don't catch. That's okay. We can always slide in the text. And I'm going to have to really ask Layerslider's team what the deal is. Why those opening transitions don't stick sometimes. In our case, things are looking pretty good. We have the puppies taking their time to get to the dock at least. It's going to be helpful to really use our Clear Cache Chrome shortcut a lot. Again, I'll show you. The extension itself, it's going to look like this with the trash icon. Get it right away. Use Google Chrome if you can manage it, and that will help you always see the most updated version of your site, because we're working with a lot of images, a lot of text, and the files get a little jumbled. So we have to clear them out. Now our puppies work, our read our story works, and our button. And yeah, we're just gonna have to work with that last slide, but pretty cool. We're gonna copy the start your project link again and put that in. Make sure that's in begin here button. But actually it was on start your journey with us. That's kind of cool. So you can link the text and then someone can click the text. Maybe you want more ways to get to a page. So link on text, link and link on button. But just make sure at least your button is linked. And save and publish. Awesome. We're done with our slider edits. Let's just go back to our project settings and let's see. Okay, layout, there's also different things like fixed size and full width if you can't get your images to fit and they're responsive for whatever reason. But I want ours to respond to the device someone's on. And you could increase the canvas width and canvas height, which would change the amount of space you have in your window here. And you can kind of get a reference for the canvas height and width you should have based on how big your images are. So if your images are set at way too small, like they're 640 wide, you do not want your canvas at like 1720 wide. You're gonna need to bring it in a little. Okay, and if you get kicked out of Layerslider ever because your computer crashes or your internet just quits for some reason, just go back to the Layerslider tab and we can find our project. It's just Home Hero Slider, no preview. All right, but eventually they'll generate a slide image from the projects. We're gonna open it up, and I forgot two more things. You can change the skin of the slider to get different buttons, like the next to previous buttons. So to do that, we can go to the style. And actually, that might be an overall project setting. So in project setting, we'll see layout, okay, scroll behavior. Sticky and scroll are just so the slide can interact differently once you're going down the page. And how about we go to appearance. So for skin, we have V6, but why don't we try something totally different, like rounded flat. Okay, and X out and save it and publish. And now let's see how we're doing. So rounded flat does have different buttons. We've achieved that much. That's awesome. You get the hover orange color and they're square with that cool arrow moving like it used to before. and this might be totally your skin. Okay, and one of you just hit me up through the comments of a different YouTube video. I'm not sure how you got this question already, considering this video is not published yet, but super impressed either way, and futuristic. Wow. That said, if you know the answer, let us know in the comments, because I'm not totally sure we got it. We're just going to go to a slide and go to the transition again. And then here we can see transition presets where we want to be. So we really want this one to have some sort of movement as a background. We don't absolutely need it moving, but that'll help us get the slide grabbing people's attention. So why don't we try to grab it on a property like sliding in, and then click on the check mark, and it applied. Whoa. So now the transformation will be selected. We saw that little green hover, and we can decide where things come from. So we'll trust that bottom is good there. And now we're going to come down, and you could say when it starts, so right when the page loads, when someone visits your homepage, and then the duration and how it eases out. And save and publish. And let's check it out. And it did it. Cool. We just have to delete our cache and then let the browser catch up with what we're doing here, because again, my internet's kind of slow. Sorry about that. So let's apply this method to the other slides. Let's go to the slides list, slide 2 cabin, and grab our background, and then head over to our transition presets. So we're going to do sliding in and growing again. Pretty cool. Or you can just do sliding in from right, you know, simple stuff. That way the slider would always go to the right. And click the check mark, and it's going to tell you the offset, so we can keep that at right. All right, and save and publish. And then we'll go to the third slide also. Slides list, beach, opening transition. And let's get the presets. Sliding in again from the right, but we were on the button. We just want to be on the beach path background, sliding in from the right. And make sure to click that check mark once it appears blue, and then we'll get the green hover borders down here. Right's good, and save and publish. All right, let's save and publish, and I'm sure we missed a ton of settings in Layerslider. Let me know which ones you want to work on, and let me know which ones you're having fun with, or especially if you're stuck on them, because especially in these layer settings, there's just so much we can, work in there to make our slides perfect. So let me know, and I'm here to troubleshoot any of those settings, because we're on a good track here, but there's a lot more, and I'm just so excited with how Layerslider 7 has worked. It's just going to be the best, and some of the past ones we got stuck, but that's not happening anymore. Okay everyone, enjoy Layerslider.